I'm just one of them. And right now, I believe that the importance of individuals have been secondary. It's the course that you're fighting for, that people start to shop around for leaders who will do that for them.
Were you playing a role, though, from a distance during those protests?
Yes, I was.
Doing what exactly?
Well, first of all, I coordinate with other countries around Thailand to understand what was going on in the country. The situation in Thailand is not easy to understand for some. That's one. Secondly, I have been setting up, just like you said, an office or a working base for people to come and think of the theme, of the content, of the substance to be distributed through various means for people to understand the situation or have the moral bravery to show their feeling as they really feel inside. That's what we have been doing.
But what about at those actual turning points when there were decisions to be made, there were offers on the table, for example, by the government, and the red shirt leaders, at least at the rally stage, didn't accept those? Were you in the background making suggestions about what they should do?
Yes, I was, along with some others that I do not want to name here. Yes, we have had a group that helped with the advice, with the suggestions to the leaders at the stage.
Do you think the
rally.
suggestions you made were the right ones, now that we've seen how things unfolded?
It was not about the right and wrong of the advice, it's about the disorganization of the mass rally. I believe that it came to the point that the leaders on stage had become less vigorous than the people who joined the rally.
They'd lost control of the group.
I think so. The crackdown on April and May this year was brutal, inhumane, but expected. So people had to see that, I guess, for the ones who did not realize what we were up against and still follow the a more shallow idea of how to achieve this goal, to be believed or to be convinced.
You say that the crackdown was brutal and inhumane, but the weapons weren't only on the government side, were they? You accept that?
I accepted that, but I would not accept the government's version that there was any organized uprising against them.
That may be the case, although we did see a number of grenade attacks. We do know that there was an element of the red shirt movement that was more heavily armed than the way that you suggest. And even since the protests, we've seen a number of bombings, one quite recent in Bangkok. Who's coordinating that?
We don't know.
Not you?
And I could say that it's not me.
You're not coordinating any sort of armed uprising?
No. It's not anyone related to us at all. Look, we are not IRA. We are not Basque separatist movement. We are not in certain cultures that violence may be appealing to people to say that we mean business. In Thailand, there had been some violent acts, and no one came out to claim that those were theirs. Why is that? What it's been telling us is violence is not a welcoming idea to the people over here.
That may be the case, but people that I'm speaking to are saying we have no other option now. We're desperate. We feel that the peaceful approach has failed. Therefore, we have to resort to force.
I was the one who said that earlier, probably last year to another network.
And others are now repeating you.
Yes, and people try to brand that as what we favor. Actually, I can just speak for me alone. It was a warning against the inevitable outcome of people cornered. But it does not mean that we are in favor of using them ourselves.
Last resort or not, though, it's happening, isn't it? And is that something that is part of your strategy, is part of your campaign in any way?
No.
Is that even more concerning? We talked about the loss of control during the actual rally.
That's right.
These random acts of violence that we're seeing now just further indicate that control's been lost of some elements within the movement. How do you regain that?
That I would agree. Our problem is not having a good control of the organization of the rally. And in itself, it means that there is no controlling of the confusion that happened afterwards.
You're in exile, Thaksin's in exile, the other leaders are either in jail or have gone to ground. How do you make any progress in that context?
Actually, there is a golden opportunity for us. Because when people in the country feel that they're cornered with nowhere to go, then that starts the process of gaining wisdom. I believe the steps to be taken from here is first through education of the political history of Thailand. We have to be able to say publicly on who is involved. All institutions in Thailand, including the royal institution, have to be brought into picture to help brainstorming and resolving the country's problem.
But we both
no one is out of it.
We both know that there's a huge barrier to that. That's a debate that can't be had.
That would be a challenge, yes. But you see that many people have overcome that. But it has not become an official way that people fight yet. And that's something that we have to try to construct.
Do you think that the way is still open for the Prime Minister to spill the Parliament, call an election, and for that to happen peacefully and create some sort of solution in the short term?
I appreciate it's not the counterpart of the democratizing process anymore. I appreciate it's just one man puppeteered as Prime Minister. No matter what he says, no matter what he does, no matter what he returns, would be useless. Something useful could have been there before the crackdown. But after the crackdown, the only language that we will be speaking is between us and the people. And the government, at least for what I see, is irrelevant. So
in essence, we actually haven't moved forward at all. It's still a stalemate position. You're not talking. There is no option for reconciliation. I can't see how progress can be made under those conditions.
Well, we have to leave the paradigm of having the opinion leaders leading the way for the people. We just have to keep telling people what happens, and people have their way of expressing themselves and try to change things. I believe in that totally. That's why I have to say that I don't give much care of the people in the leading position that would say, well, let me think about it for a day or two, let me sleep on it. And I would think that if you want to do it, you go ahead and do it. If you don't want to do it, it is the time for you to fold. And history would judge you accordingly. That's your business. So I think that, yes, it is a stalemate, but there is something lurking underneath that stalemate, that people start distributing CDs, people start distributing pamphlets and documents, people start to educate themselves in one same family where many generations live together. It has never before done in this way that everybody has a political opinion. It's new for Thailand. So we are not in a stalemate as far as the social phenomenon is concerned. The political stalemate, yes, I would agree.
Where is Mr. Thaksin in all of this in terms of being involved in the day-to-day strategy of the movement?
I think Thaksin is now taking his time to ponder on what happens. I have not much in contact with him lately, but I follow his news and his movements because I worked for him before. But right now, I consider him one of the supporting individuals to the movement, along with others. There are some new ones, and I'm not talking in terms of financially. I'm talking about the mental support and the political ideas and such. Yes, I would say that he's still in the picture. He remains a strong symbol to our movement, but he's pondering the next steps, and that would be for him more than for the movement.
What do you mean?
I think that he is re-evaluating whether or not it is the fight worth fighting.
Really?
Maybe.
Because people died? Because it's too difficult? Why?
I couldn't say for him. I haven't worked with him closely enough to say that, but I think that people in the movement, Kun Thaksin included, have the right to reposition themselves. That's all I can say.
You think he might decide to bow out, take a back seat?
I wouldn't say that, but I think that he has the right to be pondering about it.
Where would that leave the movement if the rank and file of the movement lost their symbolic leader?
The confronting issue is that how the movement would get its support. And in the past year, it proves that the support could come from elsewhere. It doesn't have to come from Kun Thaksin and his family or his assigned people.
You're talking money now.
Talking money, talking about the safe place to stay, talking about the cooperation of respective governments in the countries that we visit or stay. All those things we have been receiving in a more natural way than before. In other words, we have had such a control system before. And then it's quite a relief to see that in the past year, there are a lot more universal support to our course. But we have the duty to make it clearer to the people out there, especially foreigners.
So you're saying that others are donating financially to the cause to keep you going?
Yes, they have.
Internationally as well as ties?
Especially internationally. But yes, we have to be careful about that. We have been careful about that in the same time.
Do you think you'd be killed if you came back to Thailand? Do you think you're at physical risk?
Yes. I think there's a high probability that I would be gotten rid of.
So what will you do for the foreseeable future? What's your immediate plan?
My immediate plan is to advance our organizing team so we can spread out information systematically to the people inside the country. And in that process, it means that people involved, me included, will stay outside the country for some time. In other words, we don't even make a timetable to return home.
Jack Rob Pinker, thanks for your time.
Thank you.